Hello, my name's Stephen Dewitt, so I do not have time to read through all this. Feel free to read through this vignette. I'm going to jump down to the paper. So what we did in this was we gave people a bunch of information about this made-up character called Linda. And we gave them a bunch of information, but I've only got time to focus on a couple of interesting ones. So one, this person Linda, so she comes to a party. And at some point, you overhear Linda saying, "Women just don't stand up for themselves nearly enough." At another point, you see Linda running across with a glass of water to help a friend, but then she briefly looks over her shoulder and smilingly rolls her eyes. And what participants are asked to do after each piece of item, there's a bunch of others, they're asked to update their belief that Linda is either a pro-Trump person or an anti-Trump person. It's kind of judgment about her character. So these graphs represent the 5 different pieces of information that participants saw. And what we're doing in this work is looking at fine-grained investigation of how ambiguity of a set of evidence kind of works in terms of polarization. So what we found is that some items were what we call fully ambiguous. So this one here, the finance item, that's just the fact you're told that she works in investment banking. And this one here is this stand-up item, her saying women just don't stand up for themselves nearly enough. These are both fully ambiguous in that they have roughly equal numbers of individuals changing their beliefs in either direction. Quite a small number here, so that's quite a neutral item, whereas this was our most polarizing item, where people made quite large changes in either direction. These 3 here are all what we call semi-ambiguous. That's a spectrum, really, but you can see here they're heavily skewed towards pro-Trump. So they don't easily, these items, such as the water item and the climate item, the protest item here, you can read if you want to pause, don't easily support an anti-Trump thingy. But what we found is that for people who came from a position of wanting to represent Linda as anti-Trump, for example, so they weren't able to interpret this the way, however, they wanted. Instead, they dismissed it. So for the stand-up item, people give completely opposite interpretations. So they either interpret it as a victim-blaming statement, or as a kind of feminist women-supporting statement. So it has this kind of full ambiguity. Whereas with other items, like she makes a joke about climate change or this protest, people didn't try to interpret that as, oh, she really cares about the climate, or she really cares about protests. They just dismissed it. So she's busy, that's why she didn't notice the protest, or the climate joke was just a joke. So this has kind of ramifications for, we can assess kind of the classic work with this, looking at, apply this framework to it, but it also has ramifications for motivated reasoning contexts, like political or legal cases, where they need to work within the ambiguity profile that's available. Okay, thank you.